Howdy, Beefalo Bart, and welcome. Welcome. Okay, I'm going to start off with saying that this is my unofficial entry and not eligible to win. So, with that, first thing I'm going to do is I want to add some music in that's going to come in to play later for my menu, which I have not built yet. Which I haven't built anything yet. I haven't done anything but loaded the animation starter pack, the first person template, and starter content is all I've added. But I want to start getting organized, and I'm going to go ahead and create a folder here called assets. These are things that I make, and first one's going to be audio. Now, I'm not going to add a WAV file into this, because that will increase file size, and having starter content in here is kind of already bumping up the file size, but it won't affect the packed version of this. So what I can do is go into the actual project file settings. You can't see that one. That one's top secret. Let's see here. I will go into the folder. So inside the folder itself, this is under My Documents, Unreal Projects, and then the name of the actual project. So I'm going to go to the Content folder, and I'm going to make a folder in here. New folder. Yes, it's called Movies. Don't worry, it'll work. So what I need to do now is actually, while I'm browsing here, let me go ahead and click that. I'm going to go to the actual location that I put my music. Now, the music that I am using comes directly from TechnoAxe online. I've linked them many times. They're royalty-free music and awesome. Alright. So I'll go to where the MP3 is actually located, and I am going to right-click, drag and drop onto that movies folder and copy here. So that now that's actually in here, but it is not going to show up here. You won't see it. What you're going to end up having to do is right click, and you're going to do a file media source. And if you look under sounds, oh no, it's not there because it's under media. You want a file media source. And what was the name of that? Mr. Eat my ass. I'm trying to do something here. That is Mr. IOUS_cat. Open it up. Go to your file path. And there it is. It's already defaulted into the correct folder for me. Click OK and save. Now, to be able to use that, you're going to need a media player. So, you can actually go to Media and Media Player. I'm going to go ahead and select Video Output, just in case I decide to do that later. I'm not even going to be able to change a new media player. Actually, you know what? I will change the name of it. Just because. Go to Media, Media Player, My Media _player. I'm not being very creative right now with the name of it. So I can go to the media player, and the only thing that it's found so far is that. And there's the song. Hit save, and we can close that. It's created this. This is a media texture. We don't have anything there yet. So we're just going to leave it the way it is, and that's the only song we have in here now. So if I wanted to be able to use that, I could actually create a blueprint and add something in here that would be kind of like a just a drag and drop item. Just blueprint, actor, music, player. Go into it. Sure, there's a couple ways you could actually do this. As you look through here, you got audio component, which, if you add that in here, then you're not going to have access to it. It's just not going to be there. So I don't want a audio component. There are some other things you can do, but see, there's your audio. But you want to add a media player in here. And if you were to try to add it in by just searching for it, media, sound, right there. And then we can pull in our media player. Compile and save. I haven't set up an attenuation setting for it just yet, which that's fine. Or any other sound classes or anything else. That's brought us our media player. Okay. Go into here and we can go off event begin play and drag in our media sound. So what we're going to need is to actually, with this, we don't have a playlist. You go right there. You editor preferences that doesn't remember. And loading and saving, disable. So you can actually come in here and create a playlist. My music underscore PL for playlist. Well, we only have one item, so add that in here. There, save. But you could put all your songs that you have in your media playlist can be put in here. And how do we access that? Oh no. Because if we just look at our media sound, oh no, how do I get that in here? Yeah, I'm spending all this time setting up something that's not even ready to be used yet. Play list. And we want to actually change this to media playlist. If we actually get that, let's do a compile and save. So with this playlist variable, grab that playlist, and get our music player. Add media source to the playlist. We don't want to do that. All right, let's see here. Well, remember what the hell I'm doing. If I wasn't crap, you wouldn't love me. So we got our playlist and media sound, source effect chain, sound submix, concurrency, all this lovely stuff we can set up in here. But Actually, no. No. All right, audio. Media sound component. It's not what I want. Well, hell, I'll have to come back to this. Set the playlist. And it's either, so you got the play feature, which is set under your audio tag. So if you go under let's see here, media. There is simple audio components that I'm looking for, and just a matter of remembering what the hell it was. Spawn or start recording output. Interesting. Don't need subtitles. See, just running the WAV file is easy enough. Play. So you want to start playing. The target is the you can't just plug that in there. Oh, would you just get in there? Doesn't like any of that. Media sound. Let's see here. Let's. All right, I'm going brain dead here. I will come back to this. Just because it's being uncooperative, and I am being stupid. So we know that our media player is there, and it is working. We have our playlist, and we actually have our actual file. It's not like you can just drag that right into your map. So I will get that functional, and I will come back to that. It's a little bit low on the priority right now because I haven't actually built anything in the game yet. So let's actually get into what I'm going to do here. The fact that I am using the first-person shooter, essentially. Let's go to the first-person example map, and if we hit play, first off, I have this stupid-ass mouse cursor. Then when I left-click away from it, then it shoots automatically. So I'm going to address that real quick and fast. I have no crosshair, so I don't know where I'm shooting. So we need to figure out all this stuff here. So let's hit that. Let's go into our blueprints, our first-person character, and the very first thing is, I don't need that, get player viewpoint, and we may come back to that. So Stick input. I'm not going to mess with any of this stuff right now. Spawn projectiles. Okay, so why are you up there? They've got to mess with things since they initially brought this out. Input touch. I don't care about you. Input action fire, which means they didn't just bind it. They bound it to an actual key instead of, or an event instead of actually just doing keyboard input or mouse input or whatever else. It's playing a montage. It's playing a sound. Get player viewpoint. Get actor location. Start trace. Shoot direction. Line trace by channel. For right now, let's go ahead and do for duration so I can see what we're starting to work with here. Breaking hit results. So it's doing a line trace by channel. So we can use that to affect the rest of our shooting mechanics. Is simulating physics. Add impulse at location. So that's what's actually knocking the cubes around. It's got weapon damage, which is set to an ungodly 500,000. Alright, so yeah, you could actually add impulse at location, including a bone name, but we're not worried about that. I mean, technically we could push this line here all the way over to there, but let's go ahead and fix the mouse cursor at startup. So much extra unnecessary crap that I'm not going to use here. So again, that's as simple as event begin play. We need to set input to game only. And of course we need to get a reference to our player controller. Push you over and set show mouse cursor. Leave it unchecked so it turns off that mouse cursor. No matter what happens when we begin to play, that's going to be a thing. So now if I hit play, no mouse cursor, and whenever I fire, you can see it's going to draw the line from where we just fired from. And if I stand like right here, don't like not having a character here, but where the hell is that coming from? Okay, so where is it getting its line trace from? Well, if you look at spawn projectile, playing sound at location, there's no attenuation, which is not really going to matter all that much for right now because it's just us. Get player viewpoint. So it's using player viewpoint as its start location. Cast to player controller. Get controller. Blah, 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 blah. Get camera location and rotation from the player camera, which is first person camera. So am I assuming that my player controller, player camera manager, well, there's only one camera, so apparently it's getting it from this location. But if we look at it in here in game, yeah, okay, I can live with that. So what if we actually created a let's go to the asset folder and let's create a new folder and called widgets, and let's create a really stupid simple crosshair. We'll call this our crosshair underscore W for widget. I don't remember if they included one in here or not. There used to be a crosshair in this. Aha, right there. So we do have a crosshair. They just did not include it. So let's go ahead and open up our widget. Go back to the textures and highlight that. So the first thing I want to do is get an image, drag it into the scene, and we're going to call this we're going to anchor it to the center. Full show, and then we want to rename this to crosshair. Want to then go to our brush and click the arrow. So there's our crosshair. My mouse over it, it's 16 by 16. It's a little on the small side, so let's go with 40 by 40. And let's go ahead and zero it out. 0, 0. And if you notice where it is, the center point is here. So we need to split the difference on this. So let's do -20. -20. And that will put it in the center of the screen. Alright, so I want to come back into our player character. And let's go to the event graph for one. And let's go ahead and well, first off, I'm going to go to offset, and I'm going to go to category, and I'm going to create a category called weapon base for now. And I can now go back here, and all these things that are here, I'm going to go ahead and put those in that category. Again, this is all part of trying to keep everything clean, neat, and organized. And as part of a game jam, you're not going to be actually submitting your code. You're actually going to be submitting a playable version of it. And a couple of different ways, and I think the easiest way to go about it is to set up a itch.io account, which is free if you don't already have one, and you can upload it there. As long as it's less than 1 gigabyte in file size, then no problem uploading it for free. Not a bad place to kind of showcase what you're doing as well. There was another website I need to look into that was dedicated to game jam stuff as well. So I will look into that as needed. But okay, so we need our crosshair. So I'm going to create a variable saying use crosshair, because I want to have the ability to turn this on and off. So I'm going to come over here and custom crosshair off. For now, I'm not even going to use this one because right now I'm just going to keep the crosshair up. But I want to build some functionality into this thing from the get-go. And let's actually put a branch node in here. Use crosshair. And if we choose to not use crosshair, then, you know what, again, not necessary. We just want to have this working. So we'll create the custom event of crosshair on. We'll worry about turning it off later. And we will go ahead and put this in here. This is basically what I was doing by just changing the name. I know, wishy-washy. So use crosshair is equal to true. Then, yes, we want to then create a widget. Get player controller. The widget itself is going to be the crosshair, And then from here, we want to add to viewport. We're not changing our inputs on anything, so not a problem there. And then I'm going to go back up to my event begin play, and I'm going to go ahead and put that custom event in here. So if we choose to later, we can turn it off. Let's see what it looks like now. Not there. And that is on. Let's actually bind this in here, and no, what did I forget down here? Okay, for now, let's go ahead and just default that to true, just so we don't have any problems. So there we go. And that went exactly where our crosshair was located. So that's good. We can see that it collided, and that's also good. Now, one thing you'll notice that when you start adding in your target AI, unless you just want to fight against cubes, if you put in a character, then what's going to happen is, I don't know if I can get away with this, is just an animation. And just having a character in here. Alright, that's fine there because I'm doing the animation. A lot of times what will happen is when you're shooting your enemy character, if you're using just a regular third-person animation blueprints, the red line will go continuously through and all the way to wherever it's going to go. And that's no bueno. You want to be able to hit your target. So you have to change the collisions on your target characters to block all dynamic. It's just a minor change, but we don't want you in hell. Actually, yeah, because you're not a regular character. You're not going to be affected because you don't have physics and that kind of stuff. But this gets us shooting, gives us a basic crosshair. Now, we could, instead of just having this crosshair like that, first off, let's get rid of our line trace component, where I set it to for duration. We can turn that back off. So now we don't have that little line trace shooting out. So we just have our crosshair and bang. We don't physically see the projectile, and I'm fine with that. I don't like seeing the projectiles anyway. You can't see most projectiles when you're shooting anyway, so there's no point. So that. We don't have an enemy yet. I'm not going to worry about creating the enemies just yet because I want to make a map and I want to do some other stuff, things like that. You've got all these animations to work with. The animation blueprint, the actual character blueprint, and I'm not going to use that because I'm using the first person, which gives us, well, basically a floating body. I'm not worried about that aspect. Because if you wanted to, then you would end up having to come in here, and besides the fact of having your floating arms and floating gun, you then would have to build in another mesh, which would be your third person, or your actual third person mannequin, and you have to worry about the head being in the way, the arms being in the way, and doing other animations and blending things, and I'm not getting into it. You can. It's the best way to do it, but I'm not gonna do it because I don't know how. This is good enough for me for right now. It gets me shooting. But what if I don't want to have those colored arms, maybe? So, let's actually find out where are we getting the materials for this. For our mesh, If I click on the mesh, there's nothing there. Weird. So if I click on the arms, it's right there, mesh 1P. And it's using M underscore UE4 main body, blah, 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 blah. Let's click on that and go to there. And it's down here under this. You got your material layers. Why are you compiling shaders? I don't need that. You got textures, your mesh, your material layers, and your materials. Let's look at that material. What can we do with it? Well, we have body color right here, and that is our body color. So if we want to change our color, I am not going to actually modify this one. I am going to right click on it, and I'm going to duplicate that, and red arms. I'll go into this one, scroll to my body color, select that one, and click on the default color, and let's go with 1 tab 0 0. Oh, please hurry up and compile your shaders, because you know I have nothing else better to do with my life. And then hit save. And actually, let's go ahead and as soon as we finish saving, I'm going to go back and save that color. Come on, damn you. Thank you. So I can take that color and just drag it right there, and I can use it again later if I want to. So now I can go back into my first person character, mesh 1, blah, 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 and just type in red, and it'll find red arms. Now by copying that material, you can see that we kept the elbows and all the other cool things. So I compile and save, go back in here and hit play. Yay. We have a hand is all we can really see anyway. Alright, so this is cool. We got all the shooting stuff in. But we can sit here and just shoot for 9 years. We don't have ammo, we don't have health, we don't have reload animations, we don't have anything really to work with. So many things to take into consideration. Because, I mean, if you look in here, this is just input action fire. So when we fire, we go through this whole length of stuff here, but we're just able to fire. We don't have any pre-qualifying branch saying, can we fire? If yes, then like that. So again, things to consider when you go into play. Do you want your player to have infinite ammunition and all that cool stuff? If I hit right click, what's going to happen is I got this gun and arms in my view. We know that it's shooting where I'm aiming. Could always go in and create a scope crosshair, a zoom feature, what have you. Another camera or whatever. We're not going to worry with that just yet. Those are things to think of. I've included in my Discord channel in the BBG-demos page. If you scroll up, I put 2 PNGs in here. One is for binoculars, one is for a scope. Feel free to use those. Just right click and save them. They're just scope masks and binocular masks. I think the important factor here is creating your maps. And I've had plenty of videos where I've shown how to, I'm not going to do my whole project on video because I think that would kind of be boring to watch, because the majority of what I'm going to be doing is setting up a map and setting up the characters for my targets to shoot at, whether I use the animation starter pack and target the other, like mannequins, have them as targets, or if I just make a shooting range where you can come in here and shoot at targets. I mean, it may be boring, but whatever. Or I might make an AI that shoots at you, or whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do for that portion of it yet. And yes, I know proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, but it gives me time to sit here and think about how I want to lay things out. I've got plenty of videos on how to make your own custom BSP geometries. Really quickly, let's save all, make sure everything's good. Go into, now you can use these pre-shaped things, that's fine. You've also got in the starter content, there are shapes that you can use here. Like if you want pipes, there's different, like there's a tube there, there's different pieces you can use. You have props. You got chairs, a chair, a sofa, a couch, a bush, some lighting, rock, shelf, statue, table, windows, that kind of stuff. That's cool. Stair here. You've also got some particle effects, ambient dust, explosion, fire, smoke, sparks, and steam. You got a buttload of materials to use for adding into your map. You have examples to look at here. Preset blueprints for some lighting and stuff. You got audio files like sound of fire, smoke, explosion, buildings collapsing, starting music, starter birds, and that kind of stuff. But in the architecture folder, you have wall sections. You got doorway, that is. You got a pillar. You got walls. You got a platform, which that one's pretty cool. So you've got all those. You got all your basic shapes, but if you want to create your own stuff, then go right ahead. Go to your BSP geometries. You can set up your stairs. You can set up your box collision here. But remember, if you want to create something like, okay, before I put that down there, I'm going to go to my materials. I'm going to go to this brick texture, and then I'm going to drag this box in here, and it'll automatically have the material applied to all sides. Don't use the scale for changing your dimensions of your BSP geometries, or it'll look like crap. We'll make this 400 by 400 by 400. Quick tip, if your floor is set to 0, then half of your Z height should be there, and this is not set to be correct. So I'm just going to put that in here. Then if you wanted to do also, you can grab another box. This one is this. Remember, if you're trying to change something in this direction, look at the green arrow, compare it with this green arrow. That's the Y direction. So if I want to change that Y to 20, I can. But let's actually click on the box here, and I'm going to make this hollow. And then I'm going to go back to this box here. And I'm going to change this to subtractive. I can shove it in the wall there. And I can actually cut a hole in my building or my previous box. And remember, you can change your snapping from different heights. So now I just created a little area that I can go in here and hide. So you can use that to create all sorts of wonderful things. Not only that, once you have this, you can actually go in here, geometry editing, and I'm going to click on this box right here, and you can actually click on this point and modify your BSP geometries. Apply. Go back to here. Now that didn't work as good because it's actually I needed to grab the inside ones as well. So it looks the same here, but you get the idea. You can actually go in there, and what I would do is actually take this and uncheck hollow. But you can modify, I do that. Now we've got this. I could do here and here now. No, I don't want the line, I want the corners. Now I can change that to there and apply, go back to here. Now if we look at it, click off, click back on again, and turn it into hollow. It's going to revert back. So you have to think about your shapes as you're doing them. But you can create all kind of weird, cool stuff. So if you want to create your own custom buildings, custom windows, whatever, you can do that. If you're going to use the architecture pieces and use, for example, the door, it works just fine. But if you want to dress up that, you can actually come back to your props, grab your door frame. Of course, they don't, match the same direction you're putting them down. Rotate that 90 degrees, and what you're going to find is the door frame doesn't quite fit. It's okay-ish on height, but you're going to have to scale it, and you can use a scale tool on this. If you bump it over one time with your snapping still default at 10 or whatever, that's fine. You just have to remember, if you use that to build your door frame, then when you go to put a door in, and of course you got to rotate it 90 degrees, the door is not going to be the right size. So you're going to have to do the same thing and snap that. And I would probably uncheck that just so you can get it just right. You're going to have to experiment with the size. But experiment, play around, see what you got. And there's no glass in it. You actually have to attach the glass separately. Let's see, I believe there was a door glass. Now, it's actually there, but it doesn't really block anything. So if you wanted to block the line trace from going through there, up to you. There's no collisions on the door at all. So click on the actual item. A couple different ways you can do collision presets, block all dynamic, still shooting through it, so let's just turn off. We'll just use block all. You don't want your door to be able to just walk right through. Kind of pointless. No collision whatsoever. So let's actually look at the door. Collision, simple, no collision at all. So what you can do here is go to your collision and add simplified collision. It's a little bit on the wide side, but that's fine. There was just no collision on it whatsoever. Here, now we got collision. And we're blocking. So you can adjust your collisions from here. You can thin it down to where it fits the actual dimensions of the door. Collision presets, block all dynamic maybe. Hit save, close, click on my door again. Let's see what block all dynamic does now. Always going to have that little bit of what the hell stuff going on. Can't shoot through it. There we go. You could add animations to your door. You can make it open, closed, use a timeline, whatever. There's just so many different things you can do when setting up your scene, setting up your map to actually be what you want. I will experiment around and I will play with my own map. I play with myself. Yeah, and come up with something cool. Whenever I come up with the first map, then you know, I may do like level 1 is a training map, teach you how to play, show you what the controls are, that kind of stuff. I will probably go in and start setting up a simple bot system just to give us something to shoot at. Or I might make a reactive target system or whatever. I'll figure it out, and I'll just show little snippets here and there of what I'm actually doing, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, take a break for a little bit, and we'll see you guys later.